Hello everyone, so welcome back to another video where we are going to be going through modifiers within Bambulabs, and these are extremely helpful to know about because they will save you a lot of time. And I will show you a method to get the same effect but without actually doing it within the slicer a little bit later as well. So as you can see, we've got a little random model here, and this is from the Fallout 4 jet. You go to objects, select the object you want, and then you can go to add modifier. So there are a couple different options. You can add a part, so this is basically just a primitive like a cube, cylinder, sphere, all that sort of stuff. You can also add a negative, a modifier, and you can also go into support blockers and stuff like that. Or we'll just stick with the modifier today. So if we just add in, let's say this part here, there'll be a screw going into it. So this is just a pilot hole for a screw, but we want it, so imagine this was printed out like this. We want it to be a little bit thinner, because if you would put a screw into that, more likely this is going to break and it's going to spin around inside of it. And instead of just changing this to crazy infill, or that would be fine to put a screw into, but of course you've done that throughout the whole model and it's going to massively increase the time and hugely increase the cost compared to if we were just to do this. We want to make sure we keep it around the 50p mark and preferably less than an hour. And we can easily do that with a modifier. So because it's a round hole in this case, what we can do is we can add a modifier, and we're going to do cylinder, and we're going to put it lightly over it. And now you can use the same tools with this as you can with your normal model. So you've got the scale tool, you can do all that, and just know as well that this is a child of the actual body itself. So if you want to independently change the scale, make sure you select just it, because if you select the actual body that the child is under, it will change both of them. So just bear that in mind when you want to modify just this bit. Make sure you only modify just this bit. So we're going to shrink it down to roughly be the right size to kind of what we want, and we're going to move it. And there's no point in trying to get it exactly right, just kind of pass it through and it'll be fine like that. That's absolutely fine. Having a little bit going over the edges is absolutely fine. So what we can do now with this modifier, if we were to go into it and select it individually, and we were good to go to walls, what I would do in this case was just chuck in 10. So now we've got 10 walls on that region. So if we then go down, as you can see, hardly moved, and yet around the actual part we wanted it to be, it's now super thick. I mean, even that's probably too much, to be fair. It doesn't need to be nearly that much. We can bring that down just a little bit more, and we can center that a little bit better. So we're going to bring it down. So as you can see, we've now got a perfectly strong enough hole to be able to chuck a screw into, and it wouldn't rip apart the model, and that's without hugely increasing everything else to go along with it. I was going to show you a little bit how I would go about this without actually using a modifier, if that's a thing you want to do, because I find that yes, these are good, but if you need something that's more precise and in the right place, it's a little bit hard to line this up unless you kind of do the math to find out exactly where the center is of everything. And that can be weird when you've got a part over here randomly, and of course your center coordinates aren't just center. I'll open up Fusion here. So as you can see, we have the part right here. This is the piece that we imported into Bambulabs. What we can do with this is, if we just wanted that center region, we could make that a whole separate body. So if we just say we want that around it, and we expanded that out past, we then copy the main body, we then intersect using it. We can then remove that from this piece by keeping the tool body, and now you have a separate piece inside of it. So these are the two we just exported, and then this was the original single one. Both of those two models, so you're just going to select them both and then bring them both in, and it's going to ask you, would you want to load these as single objects? And in this case we don't, because what this will do is if you click no, they'll just put them individually and they won't be in the correct place. But because we modeled them in the correct place within Fusion, if we click yes, it means it's going to make sure it keeps that position data in the right location. And we now have this. So from here, we can then select the part we want, and we can add that 10. And that is basically doing the exact same thing as what the modifier was doing, but in a more precise way. You're doing it in the software and importing it compared to using modifiers. And it's just as easy to, of course, change those individual things if you wanted to change it from 10 to 2, because again, you're just changing, theoretically, the exact same thing, but you're controlling its location inside of the actual software itself that you're modeling in. I hope this helps. Yeah, please give comments on what to do next time, because I know for me, this was a super helpful tool and I do use this very often. I tend to use this more often than the modifiers just because I need something that's super repeatable and like nice and fine-tuned. But for one-off things, absolutely I use modifiers all the damn time. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed and see you guys in the next one.